Welcome to our workshop titled Fostering Inclusion, Making Tech Tangible for All. We are ACM Women's Camusa and ACM Camusa, and we are here representing Texas A&M San Antonio. My name is Janet Su. I'm the president of ACM Women's and co-president of our regular ACM.
I'm Anna King, and I am director of operations for ACM Women's and ACM Tamusa.
I'm Danae Williams, I'm the treasurer of ACM Tamusa and vice president of ACM Women's. A little bit about us. This is our agenda. We're going to talk about who we are, who our team is, our mission, our experience, some tips for you, and resources. So a little bit about us. We are the student chapter in San Antonio. I'm going to step away because there's a lot of feedback. But ACM is the Association for Computing Machinery, and they're a national organization. We welcome all students on campus of all majors. Our biggest goal is to ensure that we are engaging our students in stimulating activities, computing activities. We want to make sure that no one feels out of place and that they know that technology is a viable resource that they can always turn to. Our main goals include connecting students to leaders in the industry and professionals to make sure that we are fostering diversity of thought on campus and in tech. So Texas A&M serves students from all around, and it was founded on the south side of San Antonio, specifically to cater to underfunded communities of the South. There's a large range of students that A&M San Antonio includes, and that's why we make sure that diversity is at the forefront of all of our events. And I'm going to pass it on to Janet to talk a little bit about the international student experience at A&M.
So, as you see, the title of this slide is Dreamers. The dream is capitalized because all the letters stand for something. It stands for Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors. So, who exactly are Dreamers? So, Dreamers are undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S., usually as kids. We went to school here, and in many cases we do identify as American. And you've probably heard me say the word our. That is because I am undocumented. So what I did is called self-disclosing. I just openly told you my choice. No one in here asked me to. I just told you that I am undocumented. Whenever a student comes to you and is self-identified, you do not have the right to tell their status to other members of the club, your friends, anyone else. So what struggles do this group of people face? So one of the main ones is it's really hard to find experiential learning opportunities. So for example, internships. Because when you apply to a job, you all get to the part where HR wants to know what your social security number is. Well, the problem is we don't have one. So we may not be legally authorized to work in the U.S. unless we are undocumented, which is not a lot of people actually. It's also really difficult to assimilate to the workplace because we always feel like we don't belong either to the workplace or in a club. We may not feel seen or like we matter. It's also really hard because we see all of our peers doing amazing things and we wish we could do the same thing. Also, imposter syndrome is a really big one. I constantly face this. I previously used to wonder if my future was as important as students who do have a social security number, and this is an issue that a lot of dreamers face. When you look around you, I guarantee you have talked to a dreamer before. We are everywhere, but you can't look at me and just say like, hey, this person is undocumented or documented. There's nothing physically about us that lets you know that. But I promise you, we are everywhere. People are not very comfortable with self-identifying. I am more comfortable with my status, so I do self-identify. So, I will say the word dreamer has somewhat of a negative connotation to it. So, as you see, the butterfly suggests that immigrants are usually Hispanic due to the logo being a butterfly. So the butterfly signifies the migration that happens every year up the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas, and it suggests that dreamers can only dream. So this word, I guess this name, dreamers, can be a little bit ironic. It can sometimes feel like our dreams are not tangible or attainable. Like after we graduate college, what happens after? So how does our ACM groups at A&M deal with these issues? We do not ask about status. I guarantee you never need to ask about student status. I guarantee you there's no reason that you need to do so. But students should feel comfortable enough with you, your club to be inclusive enough to where a student can come up to you as president, whatever position, and tell you, hey, I'm facing these issues, can you help me address them? And in that, you're not allowed to disclose their status to other members without their consent. We are also student-led, so we're really proud that we're able to adjust to situations. I think we're very personable on campus and in our classes, so our members feel very comfortable talking to us about different things. I personally do know the dreamers in our clubs. I don't tell anyone their status, but I'm very aware of it. And on my campus, we have something called the Indoctrinate Ally training that you guys are also able to take. So in this training, you basically learn how to be an ally to dreamers, how to be a better partner to work with in classes, on projects, what language to avoid because it may not be very inclusive. So I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened when I first joined ACM. The former president would constantly say that if you don't get an internship, you are unemployable. And that blanket statement did not make me feel the best. I lost confidence because now I'm like, okay, I don't qualify to get a job. So what am I really in college for? I have a great scholarship. I love my classes. I love learning. But surely, what can I amount to? If I can't work, no one's going to invest in me. What can I do? So that was really discouraging, and I was inactive in ACM from that moment. I got really close to him again, and I told him my status, and he was, I think, genuinely trying to help me. And then I learned that he was telling other members my status. That made me feel unsafe. I did not talk to any ACM members after that. I was just not in contact with anybody because I felt unsafe being in that club. I'm also a peer mentor on our campus, so I do work with dreamers. We have about 450 dreamers that we know of, and I would never tell them to join ACM because that would put them at risk as well. I would never want someone to have the same experience as me, so we work really hard to be very inclusive to all students. We let them know that they matter, and also whenever we email out opportunities, we always highlight who is eligible. If every single student, no matter their status, can apply for the internship, the job, we highlight it very clearly. If they're not, we also let them know of that situation. So at my university, they considered me to have hacked the system. So I get emails like this where the Career Center is asking me to help advise either a current student or alumni on finding jobs. So if you know me, I somehow always have 5-6 jobs, might be 7 this semester just because, and that's not very common for dreamers. I think that I have mastered networking. I go to every single conference. I talk to recruiters. I know they can't offer me a job, but I'm still there. I am everywhere on campus. I don't let my status or lack of a social hold me back. And that's really important. I am literally at every single conference, every career fair on campus. I am there. I talk to recruiters, I get their cards, and I just talk to them and make good connections. Tech is not about what you know, it's a lot about who you know. So when my situation changes, I'm able to use those contacts. Or sometimes I've learned, and I advise that you tell this to dreamers or your community. If you're a dreamer, it's easy to find find jobs or people who are willing to adjust or take a chance on you, you can contact smaller companies. Sometimes they are more ready to listen to these situations and help you adjust, and that's really important. Make personal connections. In all of our communities, we have great startups that are willing to work with us, especially as a university. Reach out to them, leverage that. Whenever you're contacting small businesses to work with them or for sponsorships, ask them, hey, is it possible for, let's say, a student to work for you as a contractor using their tax ID number, which we are all eligible to get as students who are undocumented. So there's still some opportunities, but sometimes we have to get the ball rolling. And it's also important to remember that sometimes it's really nice to have someone to give our voice. So as club leaders, we take pride in being the voice of dreamers on our campus. So in every conversation, we think about dreamers. They're never, ever left out. So things to keep in mind. Our life status does in no way define us in any way, shape, or form. Do not make us feel like we are less than. Do not disclose our status in those totally confident on this stage. I'm very open about it, but other students are not, and that's perfectly okay. Our learning is just as important as other students, so don't make us feel alienated. And be ready to listen, because the word dreamer is actually very broad. It includes people who have TGS, fully documented, or just out of status. And every single student's situation is different, so don't treat us as one. Listen to our problem and help us solve it. Now I'm going to move over to the
Alright, thank you, Janet. I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. I want to talk a little bit more about how tech can be intimidating, not just because it's a tough subject and it's hard to learn for a lot of people, but also financial disparity increases the digital divide greatly. Your geographical location can greatly contribute to your lack of technical literacy and the digital divide. So students who come from lower income communities might not have access to the Wi-Fi that they need to complete the projects that they need to complete, and they might not have access to the resources and funds to purchase the hardware that they may need to complete the projects that they wish to. Also, digital accessibility is a fairly new concept, and things like contrast, increased font, alternative text, these are things that have barely become a norm. And even then, there's a lot of websites that don't have digital accessibility for students who are blind, deaf, or struggle with different disabilities. So how does ACM Toomusa solve this issue? We do our very best to provide resources to students to make sure that they are getting the experiential learning that they need to move on to a career in technology. We try to keep our costs low to zero for all of our students, which means that we don't ask for dues, we don't ask for money when we go on hackathons, and we don't ask for them to cover their own meals. The Texas A&M University San Antonio's ACM chapter has been open for about 5 years now, but it's been funded for only about 2 semesters. When we first gained leadership of ACM in December 2022, we had $0 in our student account, and we had to fundraise and find ways to sponsor our students to go to hackathons. So although it may be free for students to attend hackathons in other cities like UT Dallas or Tampons, it's not free to travel and it's not free to eat. So we contacted our president's office at our university for funding, and they were kind enough to assist us in taking 20 students to Tamu Hacks. So this photo right here in the center is the photo of all of us and the students that we were able to take to Tamu Hacks. And around here are other photos of us just working on. We shamelessly won first place in the general learners competition at Tamu Hacks, which was a very big win for us because it had been years since we had won. So what you can do for your university to make sure that you're providing the resources and information and opportunities for students who may not have the funds to provide it to themselves is to make sure that you understand your audience. Texas A&M San Antonio is very So it's important that you understand the students who attend your university, the issues that they face. It's important that you understand how many dreamers you have in your university and how many underfunded students you have in your university. We know that not every issue can be solved, but it's definitely important to be aware. Here are some of the events that Texas A&M San Antonio puts on for our students. We have Intro to Android Development, Intro to Machine Learning, Intro to Python, and Tech Night. Now, before I move on to Tech Night, I want to make sure that we have the intros first. We try to make everything as beginner-friendly as possible because most of our students don't start coding or even have their own laptop until they reach university. Texas A&M San Antonio has a program where you can go through a training and receive a free laptop from the university because some students may not be able to afford that for themselves. So we try to make sure that we are as inclusive and beginner-friendly as possible to make sure that no students feel left out and that they don't lose that drive for tech. I'm going to pass it on to Anna to talk about our pizza fund.
Real quick, talking more about our ACM events, kind of just what Danae was saying, we have a lot of intro to a lot of just different areas of tech. This is really important. Actually, when I first came into ACM, before that, I was really, really scared because I was a sophomore. I think I really knew one language. I knew how to code one language, and then I knew the names of 2 other languages. And I was like seeing other kids come into my classes, at the age of 12, have already accomplished great things, and I had nowhere or no idea where to start. It's like intro classes, and everyone around me was doing much better than me, and I couldn't figure out how to start that journey. And so one day I got an email from ACM saying that we're going to a hackathon, and everybody is welcome, you don't have to have any knowledge. And so I really replied yes. I closed my eyes, I clicked the send back, yes, let go. And that honestly has changed my life. My first hackathon was Code Red in Houston. And from there, it really just, the languages I learned, I understood so much more of the computer world. So that's important to, have introductions for students and freshmen or anybody who really wants to start into programming. But also at the same time, what we're doing this semester is to make sure that we're starting more intermediate or advanced workshops as well to hold on to the students we do have already, but also still giving guidance to new students. So one of our biggest sponsors so far has been MLH Hackcon. This has been a huge help because during class and everything, students get really hungry, and then afterwards they have a choice of do I want to go to this workshop or do I want to get lunch? And honestly, that was the decision I was given. I would pick lunch. So we were able to find out that MLH has a pizza fund, which recently they sponsor and help provide food and drinks for events in tech. And that has just been a huge way of bringing in students and just have a better place to learn and feel safe and welcome.
So we work closely with our department. So in our club, we have people who major in biology, political science, everything, basically. So we work closely with our department to get the different class schedules to help us pick the best time to host workshops so we can reach the best number of students. And I'm pretty sure you guys are able to access this as well through your department. And we've also learned that cafeteria food on campus is not the best, I'm guessing at any university. So we thought that, hey, if we provide better food, students are happy. And we never want to have hungry hackers because they're just not very engaged. So the pizza fund has been absolutely amazing in helping us accomplish that.
So what is Tech Night? So Tech Night is a 4-hour event aimed at facilitating and exchanging knowledge in the tech industry. And so basically, if you look at the Tech Night's agenda, we have a speaker series in which we bring in speakers with many diverse backgrounds in tech to just speak on how they made it and broke into the tech industry. Because a lot of us are like, okay, I see the tech industry, but what are the steps I take to get into that? And so that's a perfect moment to have people who have experience that guide students in that way and answer any questions they may have. We also have addressing resume challenges. One thing that students came to us and told us is that they have a hard time figuring out how to build their resume for the tech industry, because we have a business center who helps, career center that helps with that stuff. But unfortunately, things change. The English majors have a different style of what their resume is going to look like for their jobs, and ours look different. So we wanted to bring in professionals to really help guide students and edit and change their resumes to help guide them to be able to get into tech jobs. And the next thing we have is networking and career advancement. That's basically just like career fair and just having students interact with each other, learning more about other areas of tech, because there's a lot of times we come in freshman year and we're like, this is what I want to do. But honestly, when you start having conversations with the students around you, you start learning more and more, and you're like, that sounds nice, maybe I'll do that. And so we really try to facilitate that, as well as just with career professionals and employers. And then also sponsorship and support all comes from MLH when it comes to more majority of this stuff. So again, we cannot be more thankful for that.
So to add on to the resume challenges, the verbiage used on a tech resume is extremely different from what our career center may be used to. So how we plan to solve this was getting people who already work in the industry, as well as recruiters who actually read these resumes, to come and give good feedback to our students. And at Tech Night, we really want to solve a lot of issues that people may have. A student may not have a LinkedIn picture, we don't like that. So during Tech Night, they get a headshot. We provide free headshots to all of our members. We also help them connect with people with a networking. So we have them play this bingo game with their really good credit at the end of the game. And we have them add people on LinkedIn that they don't know, because tech is not about what you know, but it's about who you know. And I always say, the person sitting next to you that's a stranger might get your first, second, third job. And as our talk is titled Making Tech Tangible for All, we try to make sure that our speaker panel is very diverse. So we're aware that our club includes dreamers. So last year, we made sure to have a dreamer on the panel. We're aware that we have women in our club, so we made sure that those women on our student panel. This year, we do have a student that is Native American, and I'm aware of the lack of representation, so we're trying to secure someone, because we want these speakers to help our students feel like they can actually achieve something, hear their stories, hear their journeys, get inspired, and see hey, they were in the same shoes as me, and now they're successful, I can do that. So we want to make sure that each of our members is able to see someone who's made it, that is in the same position as they are.
Alright, now some tips for making your hackathons and events on campus as engaging as possible. Dynamic scheduling is a very important part of making sure that you have increased participation in all of your events. It is important that you schedule around students' class schedules and professors' office hours. So if possible, get with your computing department and your students to find out student schedules and kind of make a schedule that is dynamic and can flow to the different times of the day. Next, empowering dreamers in tech. Whether you are aware of or not aware of how many dreamers you may have at your university, it is important that you represent inclusivity and diversity. So it's important that dreamers on your campus know that you are dedicated and committed to supporting underrepresented communities.
So you guys all organize hackathons. I have a request. Whenever you plan a hackathon, it's very important that you check if your state may have border checkpoints. We are in Texas. They are a few checkpoints that we have to be aware of. So before we go to a hackathon, we see our path of travel, we see if there's any checkpoints, and we inform our members if it might not be the best idea for them to go, because they may not be able to come back. We just have to be transparent with our members. So when you're planning a hackathon, make sure that you watch out for dreamers. Can they actually attend this event? It's very important. I promise you, we are in the community and we matter, so we want to feel like it matters, so make sure that you do your research whenever we travel. So I am very careful about what car I put certain students in. I only put juniors in a car where the driver has the indoctrinate ally training, because we want our drivers to be prepared to respond to any situations. We also want our members to feel safe while they're in the car during travel. We carry these red cards called the red cards, or Know Your Rights. It's a card that you can give to police if you're ever stopped for any reason. We know that every state has different rules and regulations when it comes to immigration, so it can be a little bit harder to do by state, but this card works in each state because it's based off of the Constitution. And if you'd like to order this very card, which I highly recommend, you can go to the website that's at the bottom of this page. It's just called the Know Your Rights card. It's a really big part of making our members feel safe. We do a lot of research, so little things like this, they truly do matter.
On top of that, it's important that we commemorate and acknowledge every student's accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Making sure that your students feel supported at the hackathons, whether they win or they don't, is very, very important. And now,
so for celebrating achievements, I want to share that we've been officers since December 2023. We plan on going to Tan Relax January 2023. We got a lot of student engagement, so we had basically a week, because it was Christmas break, to find funding to take 20 students across Texas to a competition. We accomplished that somehow, don't know how. In 3 months of being very active, we grew over 600%. This summer we have been inactive because, we're all doing internships and should have been different states. So it was hard to be active, so most clubs on our campus are inactive over the summer, but we still gained so many members. We're kind of worried about how we're going to manage things. We're trying to figure out how many people are going to go into competitions, because we have to do the budgeting for that as well. So my team did an amazing job in fundraising. And as we talked about Tech Night, we would love to invite everyone here to our Tech Night. It's October 19th at A&M University, San Antonio. We'd love to have your support, hear from our speakers. We have Kellogg's, USAA, and a few companies that I will share. I'll keep it a secret. You just have to come and find out.
just in case you need to know the time, it'll be from 4 to 7 p.m. Please be there. Alright, play to win. So I hope you guys have been paying attention, because if you have, then you can win some really cool t-shirts and swag that we have from A&M San Antonio. So our first question for you is, who remembers what DREAM stands for? Do I see hands? Take a guess. It's even better because we can't use Google here.
Any guess?
No? Alright.
That's why there's an acronym for it.
Alright, you want to remind them what DREAM stands for? It stands for the Development, Relief, and Education of Alien Minors. There we go. Alright. Next question. Who remembers what side San Antonio, Texas A&M San Antonio is located on?
UTSA, come on.
There you go! You get a t-shirt. Good job. I'll give it to you afterwards.
What's the biggest rule when it comes to self-disclosing? Yes.
You get a t-shirt. You get a t-shirt. Alright, so this one is going to be a little difficult. I hope you guys get it. But what does ACMW stand for?
When is Tech Day? Oh, okay.
October 19th.
You get a dub. Alright, thank you guys. So for the future of ACM, Texas A&M San Antonio is still a pretty small university, so we are working on getting corporate support. We want to find different companies to be our sponsors, to be our partners, to help us because money does not grow on trees as much as we wish it did. We want to make Tech Night an annual event, which means that we need money. So if you have a partner, please tell them to message us. We want project-based learning to be a big part of our organization as well. So we are implementing Raspberry Pis, and we are creating a website with our students that everyone at ACM can get their hands on and just have something to throw on their resume to prove that they've worked on something greater than themselves. And campus involvement is something that we want to increase as well. Since COVID happened, it's been really hard to get people to be in person, so that's definitely something that we're working on.
So for the project-based learning, we got inspired by Hackcon XI. Actually, for this one, we learned that workshops are great. In fact, we hosted like 11 in one semester. It was ridiculous, but anyway, we learned that it's really hard to teach students in a short amount of time and keep their attention. So what if we could do a semester-long project where students get to learn everything about a website from back end to front end, and it's all going to be guided by alumni. We thought it might be more beneficial, and this project will be done through the ACM GitHub. So we're going to add them all as collaborators to look amazing on their resume, and we plan on this website being paid for by the department. So it'll be around for a really long time.
Yeah, and we are going to continue to take our students to your hackathons. We will not stop going on trips, even if we start hosting some at A&M San Antonio. And here are some resources for our dreamers.
Yes, so these are great websites where you can either find guides for getting employment as a dreamer, getting an ITN number, which is a tax ID number, which we are eligible to get and work as contractors. So I highly recommend that. And we also have resources on how you can go to a workshop with our partners to help your students get this number for free. We have a great community